The first thing I noticed when I came home was the silence. It wasn't the usual, comfortable quiet of our apartment, the one where you can hear the faint hum of the city outside and the gentle ticking of the antique clock we bought at the Fremont Sunday Market. This was a heavy, suffocating silence, the kind that presses in on you from all sides. It was our 5-year anniversary. In my hands, I held a carefully wrapped gift for my wife, Elena, a custom star map of the night we first met. As I stepped into the hallway, my heart plummeted. There, on the polished hardwood floor, was the star map. Face down, a single muddy footprint was stamped across the crisp white paper.
I found Elena in the living room, surrounded by the wreckage of our life together. Shards of a ceramic mug I'd bought her from a little shop in Pike Place Market on our first trip to Seattle crunched under my feet. She was methodically packing a cardboard box with her belongings, her movements jerky and filled with a quiet rage. "Elena?" I whispered, my voice hoarse. She didn't look at me. "Don't," she said, her voice tight. "Just don't." On the kitchen counter sat a half-empty bottle of our favorite wine, the one we saved for special occasions. By the door stood her suitcase, its handle extended, ready to be wheeled out of my life.
"I saw my sister today," she finally said, her back still turned to me. "She told me everything." My blood ran cold. Maria, Elena's younger sister, had never been my biggest fan. She thought I was too much of a dreamer, not practical enough for her pragmatic older sister. "Everything about what?" I asked, though a knot of dread was already tightening in my stomach. She finally turned to face me, her eyes red-rimmed and blazing with a fury I'd never seen before. "About you and Chloe."
Chloe? My coworker, a talented graphic designer at the architectural firm where I work. For the past few months, we'd been burning the midnight oil on a major project, a new community art center. We'd bonded over lukewarm coffee and a shared passion for the work. We'd vented about our frustrations and celebrated our small victories. We'd had lunch a few times, just the two of us, at a little Thai place near the office, Siamese Bay. We'd even grabbed a beer once after a grueling presentation at the Alibi Room. Harmless, I'd told myself. It was just work.
Maria saw you. Elena's voice trembled with a mixture of anger and hurt. "Last week, you and Chloe, at Cafe Vida on Pike Street. She said you were holding hands." My mind raced. We had been at Cafe Vida, celebrating a breakthrough on the project. Had I touched her hand? A congratulatory gesture? A fleeting moment of shared excitement? It was possible. But in Maria's retelling, our celebratory coffee had been twisted into a clandestine, romantic rendezvous.
The thing is, Maria wasn't entirely wrong. There was a spark with Chloe, an easy chemistry that was different from the comfortable, lived-in love I share with Elena. We'd started texting outside of work hours, sharing jokes and articles and complaining about our bosses. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but I had been treading a fine line, and a part of me knew it.
"It was nothing, Elena," I insisted, my voice rising in desperation. "We were celebrating a work thing. Maria is twisting it into something it's not." "Is she?" Elena shot back, her voice laced with sarcasm. "Is she also twisting the fact that you've been distant for months? That you'd rather stay late at the office than come home to me?" "I've been working hard for us," I countered, gesturing around our beautiful, expensive apartment overlooking Lake Union. "This view doesn't pay for itself." "I don't care about this place," she cried, tears finally streaming down her face. "I care about us." I tried to explain the immense pressure I'd been under, the looming deadlines, the burning desire to prove myself at work. I told her how refreshing it was to have a confidant in Chloe, someone who understood the professional world I was so immersed in. "It's not an excuse," I said, my voice cracking. But it's the truth. I reached for her, but she flinched, as if my touch was a brand.
I can't do this anymore, Alex, she whispered, her fight seemingly draining out of her. I can't be with someone I don't trust. She pointed to the suitcase. I'm going to stay with Maria for a few days. I need some space to think. The finality in her voice was a punch to the gut.
After she left, the apartment felt cavernous and empty. The silence was back, but this time it was filled with the ghosts of our happy memories. I wandered from room to room, picking up objects that were so intrinsically us. The worn copy of her favorite book on the nightstand, the goofy souvenir magnet from our trip to Portland on the fridge. I replayed every conversation, every interaction with Chloe, scrutinizing them for signs I had missed. Had I been leading her on? Had I been emotionally cheating on the woman I loved? Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was Chloe. "Hey, you left your notebook at the office. Just wanted to make sure you didn't need it for the morning." A simple, innocuous text. But in the harsh light of Elena's accusations, it felt loaded, almost illicit. I stared at the screen for a long time, my thumb hovering over the keypad, unsure of how to respond.
The next day, I drove to Maria's. I had to talk to Elena to make her understand. Maria answered the door, her arms crossed, her expression a mask of disapproval. "She doesn't want to see you, Alex." "Please, Maria," I begged, "just let me talk to her." "Why?" she challenged. "So you can spin more of your lies?" I could hear Elena crying in the other room, a muffled, heartbreaking sound that tore through me. Against Maria's wishes, Elena agreed to meet me at Green Lake Park, a place where we'd had so many happy picnics and walks. She looked exhausted, her face pale and drawn. We sat on a bench by the water, the autumn leaves crunching under our feet. For a long time, we didn't say anything. Just watched the sailboats drift by.
I love you, I said finally, the words feeling inadequate for the chasm that had opened up between us. But I think I've been lonely. I confessed everything then. The late-night texts with Chloe, the way I had enjoyed her attention, the emotional distance I had created between us. I didn't make excuses, I just laid the truth bare. Elena listened, her expression unreadable. "I've been lonely, too," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "For a long time." She told me about her own feelings of neglect, about how my ambition had made her feel like a secondary character in my life. We talked for hours, our conversation raw and painful, but honest. For the first time in a long time, we were truly communicating. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, we stood up to leave. We didn't hug, we didn't kiss. We just stood there, a few feet apart, the space between us filled with unspoken questions. "What now?" I asked, my voice hoarse. Elena looked at me, her eyes searching mine. "I don't know," she said, and for the first time, a sliver of uncertainty crept into her voice. She turned and walked away, leaving me standing there, alone with the setting sun and the echo of her words. I didn't know if this was the end or a new, more difficult beginning. And as I watched her disappear into the twilight, I realized I was terrified of both. I still am. So, Reddit. What do I do? Is there any way to come back from this?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this Reddit story, drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more wild Reddit stories like this one.